Welcome back to the ULM series in NCAA 03. We are coming into year 10, 11? 10. I still don't know. Ranked number 2 in the country, which is probably... I'm going to get the spreadsheet put together for the final episode, which I think is going to be the next one after this one. But we're coming into this year ranked number 2, and we're just going to fire off into our year as defending unofficial national champions. But we already get tripped up by some minors in UTEP, who beat us pretty badly to start off the year. But we pick up a massive 48-0 victory over LSU, follow that up, which makes no sense. And then we beat Rutgers 27-10, and then followed up with a win over UCF, our first home game over the Knights in Monroe. So we're opening up conference play against a very out-of-character 3-0 Arkansas State team, but we still managed to beat the snot out of them, just to show you how wide the gap is between our two teams. And then we pick up another win over Temple before rolling into Middle Tennessee State and picking up our 6th win of the year. Still, that first loss to UTEP is our only trip up here, so we are still perfect in the Sun Belt with an opportunity to take another conference title as we go on the road to New Mexico State against the Aggies and pick up our 7th win of the year, and then another one back at home against Utah State, our 2nd or 3rd home game of the year? I think it's our 4th now. So in the de facto conference championship game against North Texas that we play every year, who was perfect at the time, we managed to win it and hand North Texas their first loss, and that pretty much guarantees us the Sun Belt at this point as we pick up 2 massive victories over Lafayette and Idaho, as we normally always do. Both teams 2-9, similar scores. Very weird how that works, but there is another Sun Belt conference title. I think that's our 5th or 6th. I don't know how many in a row, but we pick up another one, and that was the main goal of this was to be a perennial Sun Belt contender. We've definitely done that at the very least. So even if last year was a very bizarre situation, and this one is almost just as bizarre, as we get a bid to go to the Rose Bowl with only 1 loss on our belt here. I guess considering the resume, though, losing to UTEP is pretty darn bad, even if they ended up having a decent season, which I guess we will see at the end. But playing against USC, who is 10-2, and 2 ranked 14th, which makes 0 sense. Absolutely 0 sense. So you can see their win streak is 4, so I guess that second loss on their season probably came at a pretty important time of the year, and the rankings do not favor losing in an untimely fashion. So that second loss probably completely derailed their season, rightfully so, and put them in the 14th spot, but they're still probably the top team, or one of the top teams in the Pac-10, which is giving them a bid to play in the Rose Bowl, which is, I would honestly say it's really just their game. So we get to go to our 2nd straight Rose Bowl. We won the last one against Stanford, who was 6-5, mind you, 6-5, a gross 6-5. Shouldn't have been there at all, but at least we get to play a ranked Pac-10 team now, at least in the Rose Bowl. But still, the fact that we were number 3, I don't know. We have to see who's 1 and 2, and it might make a bit more sense which teams it is. I know there's more group of 5 teams who are getting the call here. I think TCU is still pretty competitive. So, but Bryce McCarthy here, who I think is a first-year starter as well, because as we love to do that every single year, we no longer have Manning, who helped us tremendously in the last few years. He is now gone, so McCarthy is who we're going to be rocking with, I guess, at the quarterback position to try and propel us here to our 2nd straight Rose Bowl victory. And if we win this one or don't manage to, regardless, I think the result's the same here. I think this is probably going to be just the peak for this program moving forward, ever since we lost that natty to TCU. And already McCarthy's laying up absolute freshly baked goods to the Trojan defense, as this one's heading the other way very early on in this ballgame. I think that might have been the 1st or 2nd play of our offensive drive. So USC, though, our defense has forced a 13 and very, very long for their offense now, and USC is going to attempt to convert for a first down, but they consider, no, we'll just go for the rest of it. Looks like they needed about 15 or 16 to get into the end zone, and they got it with a nice, beautiful throw. Absolutely uncorked, about a 20-yard pass just sent through the air, and he had to go up high to get it. Big tight end had to go up high to get it in probably double coverage. There was a few Indians in the vicinity, but still, it ends as a touchdown for USC all the same. So McCarthy's going to roll out and throw off his back foot. Somehow that is completed to somebody. That was an absolutely disgusting animation that his body just managed to throw together and cobble together, but it will get us in Trojan territory, so I guess we will take it. We take those. Completion's a completion, no matter matter how we get it. So 1st and 10 here. The first quarter is coming to a close. USC tries to bring a blitz here, but McCarthy's got good coverage up front as he uncorks another deep ball and somehow finds an open man deep at about the 5-yard line. So a couple plays that looked pretty bizarre on paper have turned into massive gains through the air for the Indian offense. So, but the first quarter is going to come to a close with that early touchdown by the Trojans being the only points to speak of in the first frame of play. So on 1st and goal, we're going to hand it off on the ground. Our running back's getting cobbled up and a bunch of blocks. Can't create any space here. And one of our men on the front line here, one of those 5 guys, grabbed a little bit too much of the jersey. So we're going to be moving this one up back quite a way. So we're going to cut to 3rd and goal as we couldn't do much on 2nd and goal, and it's a 10-yard trek to the goal line that we managed to get in one play. Just that play. It was actually a few plays, but on that play it was one play as we find Vasquez in the end zone, and that is the only thing that's going to occur in the second quarter as the game is now tied heading into the second half, and USC facing a 3rd and short off the back foot. Their quarterback lobs this one up and finds an Indian defender who's able to haul it in for a pick. So both teams now have exchanged at least one interception in this game, but now we're facing a 3rd and short situation. McCarthy just has to get a couple yards as he flushes out of the pocket and takes it himself and shakes off one tackle, shakes off another tackle, and then gets tabletopped over the 3rd. So McCarthy is a very big man. I don't think his speed is probably over 60. I don't know how he managed to pick up as much as he did, but he saw a running lane and he went for it, and I cannot hate him for that. I cannot shame him for picking it up with his legs and creating. So that's not something we've seen too many quarterbacks in our tenure here at ULM do. So on a 2nd and 7, a man is going to go in motion here. Just under 3 minutes left to play in the 3rd quarter. McCarthy's going to drop back with pressure off the edge, and he's going to try and get rid of it quick and finds a Trojan defender who beats McCarthy. He was the only one really in pursuit. 20, 15, 10, 5, and maybe another 5 yards, and that receiver could have caught up, but we don't have another 5 yards. It is just a pick 6 for the Trojan defense, and that one is absolutely killer. As both offenses have struggled mightily to get points on the board. These defensive mishaps, or rather offensive mishaps, created by the defense has now given USC the edge here as we head into the 4th and final quarter of play in this game, and USC once again is already cooking in Indian territory. They are moving pretty unchallenged, so we forced them to another 3rd and 2nd situation in the offset I. They're going to try and go with it on the ground, and I don't know. I mean, that's a close call. I would imagine they're probably going to give it to him, but that was a pretty close call. It didn't look like he had picked it up, and I guess they're going to spot him a few inches short. So USC is going to bring out the kicking team, and they're going to send this one up, and that one is absolutely nailed all the way through. And so now we find ourselves in quite the insurmountable hole here on 3rd and 10, deep in our own territory. Still a couple minutes left to work here. McCarthy takes about 6 years, maybe 6.5 years to make a decision, and he never eventually does. And he ends up eating grass because of that lack of a decision. So 4th and 11, we're going to keep the offense on the field. We have to come up with something here. We're down by 10 points. We need anything at all, and it's thrown off to the far left side here. Receiver's got to kind of come back for it here. It's off curl here, throwing towards the line, and it just doesn't work. It's not a good game plan. So turnover on downs. USC now has the ball deep in our territory inside of the red zone, and it is now a handoff back to Kim, and our defense has that one very well covered. So after burning some timeouts, we're able to force a stop for the Trojan offense, but they're still going to be able to get some points out of this. So it was a 2-possession deficit before, and it still is, fortunately. So I guess that's the silver lining of that defensive effort here. So we've been able to move the ball here just past midfield with just a minute left to go here. I don't know if there's enough time to really close the gap here, but this is our last real full effort at it as McCarthy goes through the air and finds a receiver. It looks like he might have toe dragged along the line there to stay in bounds. So it's going to be 3rd and 1. This is basically the last opportunities that we have in this game. McCarthy gets rid of the ball quick off to the left side and finds another open man who is brought down at about the 20-yard line. So we are cooking here. A 2-minute drill here is inevitable as the L may seem. We are still fighting on offense. So we're going to run the hurry up because I don't think we have any timeouts. still to work with to try and manage the clock, and we're going to rely on the clock stopping on first down and spikes here to preserve as many seconds as possible. But a minute 3, and we still need 14 points here to win this game. I don't know if we're going to get it, but McCarthy finds Ruiz out of the backfield, has to make a diving catch for it. Kind of a nothing play. I probably just would have preferred you threw that into the dirt, but 3rd and 2nd now. Clock is running under a minute here, around 50 seconds. It's a high snap for McCarthy. If he can just get it into the end zone and floats it off on the curl there, on the out route, and misses it completely, throws it about 5 yards out of bounds, not on the same page. So 4th and 2, this is really the last opportunity we have in the offset eye. This is potentially the end of the game as we go on the ground game. Ruiz cuts up the middle, shakes off one tackle, and is brought down by another at about the 2-yard line. So we do manage to pick up the first down here, but the clock is still running here. We don't have any way to stop it, and we need to get into the end zone right now. But McCarthy's going to spike the ball here and try and reshuffle the deck, I guess, on offense to see what the game plan is. I don't know why it wouldn't be just run it up the middle here, take an opportunity, and try and get it up the middle. So on 2nd goal with 39 seconds, they're going to come out in shotgun formation and potentially, I guess, try and get this one through the air to send Ruiz in motion. McCarthy off his back foot has to float it into the dirt and just get rid of it, because a sack would be absolutely detrimental right now, even though we need 14 points in like 30 seconds to do so. Things are already at DEFCON 5. But on 3rd and goal, McCarthy now with clear space. That would have been a prime opportunity to just run it up the middle and get into the end zone, but he does find an open man to haul it in for the touchdown. So with only 30 seconds left to our name here, this onside kick is essentially finally our last opportunity, the final nail in our coffin. We had a few opportunities. This cockroach just will not die in the Rose Bowl, but USC does manage to come up with the onside kick, and that is going to essentially be victory formation for the Trojans as they win the Rose Bowl 20-14. We come up short trying to seek our 2nd straight Rose Bowl victory. It doesn't happen for us, and I think that's still supposed to be Pete Carroll, or is this before Pete Carroll? Someone who knows coaches, you can let us all know. But that is going to do it for the 2013 season. We come up short yet again in the big game. That's like the 3rd big game. I think we've lost 3 out of 4. So in the next video, we're essentially going to close things off here. It's going to be a much bigger episode, so I need everyone back here as we close off the ULM series.